Hi everyone, it's Veroosh. Welcome to my channel. I'm excited to be here with you guys today to talk about Venus trine Mars over us. This is a fairly rare aspect. It doesn't happen all the time, but we are getting a series of them today, so I want to talk to you about it. If you haven't heard, I'm changed up my way of doing the readings a little bit. I was doing heavy astrology in these all signs, and then I was doing the all sign with the tarot. And I found it way too much astrology for the average viewer. And so I've sort of split it up to the fact that I will do, I'm trying to get this sticker off, but I will try to do a shorter version of the astrology, and then we'll do an all sign, and then in certain topics, if it's warranted, I will do a in-depth astrology like I have been. I really like those videos that I did. I put one out yesterday about Sun and Jupiter. I find it a lot more good. So I hope you like it too. If you've missed it, it doesn't go out to as many people as these videos do, but I think it's great and it's worth a watch. So I want to tell you about the cycle of Venus and Mars and what's going on with them, because it's fairly special. So I wasn't going to do a video, but since this aspect is fairly unique, it's worth our attention. I didn't do a lot of notes for us to look at, but I did write down the dates so that if you are curious, or if you want to just see this, then you can follow along with this. I'm curious because I watch YouTube actually on my PC, and I checked on my phone and I found it hard to see this on my phone. Is anybody having a hard time seeing this, or is everybody seeing it okay? Can you guys let me know in the comments, and we'll get into the astrology now, okay? It's fairly easy astrology to explain, but hopefully it's a really nuanced sort of thing that's going on, so maybe it'll be interesting. So what's happening is that Venus and Mars are sort of traveling together in the sky. Venus is with Saturn, and she's traveling with Saturn because of her retrograde. She's moving slower, and she'll be with Saturn for the majority of the month. She is also traveling with Mercury. We'll get to that on another video. But she's also in a trine with Mars. And so a trine is a harmonious aspect of 120 degrees. Most often, this is when two transits are in the same sign and they travel together for a period of time. Since Venus has just been retrograde, she is moving slower in the astrological chart. When planets approach retrograde and when they are retrograde, they move slowly. And so because of this, she is sort of traveling with Saturn, Mercury, and Mars, whereas she would probably outpace everyone but Mercury on a good day. This isn't a bad thing. It's actually working to our favor. This is just an aspect holding from now until about April 17th. On April 18th, Mars will enter Leo, and so that's what's going on. Mars will enter Leo, and we will break that trine in a way. So a trine is a supportive energy. It marks natural compatibility between signs. This is a water trine, so we're talking about issues of emotions and relationships. And right now, the main thing to remember astrologically is that water aspects are sort of fleeting in the chart. There is a lack of representation of water energy in the chart until the 2030s. And many different ways it's showing up this way, that there's no Venus Cazimis with the sun in a water sign until the 2030s. it shows up and again. There's a de-emphasis of water. We're in the last bit of water energy. So this is why aspects like Venus trine Mars in Pisces and Cancer is so important, because it's facilitating things through emotions. We need these aspects to trigger our emotions and help them grow and all that. And when there's a lack of water energy, we can expect that there's going to be maybe a cooling off period emotionally around the world. I think that other things will take precedent. And so material things, but particularly technology, I think, is going to really take off. And the energy or the vibe of the world is going to be very air-centered, air energy. Fire as well, but air specifically. When Venus is in Pisces and she's trining Mars, we're talking about things like intuitive issues, peaceful coexistence, relationships improving, intuitive connections between people, and a resolution of things. Venus in Pisces has a lot to do with romance, idealism. She's exalted in Pisces, so we're talking about improvement of relationships, deepening of relationship bonds, insights and vision, psychic dreams. Artistic expression is on high, so if any of this applies to you, really soak it in, because we're not going to see it for a long time. I'm not saying there's not going to be any water transits. We do get eclipses in Pisces over the next 2 years, but there is a de-emphasis on the water energy in a big way from now until the 2030s. Mars in Cancer has a lot to do with family. Mars is supposedly debilitated or in its fall in Cancer. I really like Cancer Mars. I think that it's soft, and I think it's nurturing, and I think it's kind. It has a lot to do with the family, home improvements. I also wrote down new pets. So maybe some of you just got new pets into the family, or someone brought home like a dog or a cat, in which so congratulations. It's a pursuit of passions, moving through your emotions as opposed to logic, or motivated by money or other ideological things. It's seeking security. Think of the home and family. It's centered on its goals. It's supportive, caring, slightly protective also, especially of family matters. The downside of Mars in Cancer is that it can be moody, it can be irritable, it can be passive aggressive, and if emotions are not addressed, then it can have its outburst. Okay, so the way to think about what's going on, we're in a triple pass. That's what the video is called, and I want to tell you about that, and then we'll get into the reading. So because of the retrograde cycles, Venus and Mars, which form about 2 trines with each other in a cycle, are actually forming 4 in this one, because both Mars and Venus went retrograde. When we're talking about planetary cycles, we're talking about a relationship between 2 transits. In this case, Venus and Mars, which are both personal planets. And so as they travel through the sky, they form a variety of phases. They're sextiles, squares, oppositions, and so on. And there's a reset point when they join together and form a conjunction. And so it's from that reset point that we count a planetary cycle. And when a relationship forms between Mars and Venus in different ways, it activates the themes of that planetary cycle, of that primary relationship. So what we're looking at here is a kind of a complex one, so it's worth our attention. Plus you'll see at the end of like the astrology that it's actually really connected to some other things, so we'll talk about that next. For our purposes, for our observation, because we're going to get into the tarot and your individual sign readings next, basically Mars and Venus have already formed 2 trines because of this retrograde period. In 2024, Mars and Venus joined together in Aquarius. And so this is the planetary cycle that we're in. That planetary cycle began in February 2024. This means that the context in which their relationship is unfolding is Aquarian. And that's important because we've had a unique pattern of these cycles with Venus and Mars because there's been 2 planetary cycles back to back in Aquarius. That does happen, but it's not common. So we had 1 cycle in 2022 and then a second cycle in 2024. And so this is the second cycle. They last about 2 years. And in 2026, they'll form their next conjunction in another sign, not Aquarius anymore. But in the context of everything that we're looking at, the big picture, this is all connected to Pluto in Aquarius, because that first conjunction between Venus and Mars happened at 0 degrees of Aquarius in 2022. And then they formed 2 planetary cycles in Aquarius, beginning in Aquarius with that conjunction. So we're in the process of the second one. So for you personally, when you are looking at your life and seeing what happened, consider 2022 to 2024 a cycle, February to February, and then 2024 until January 2026, which is the second one. And so kind of see if there's a pattern with regard to relationships. When we're talking about Aquarian planetary cycles, it's really about our relationship with larger social groups, technology. It's that Aquarian energy that's ushered in with Pluto in Aquarius. And so we're looking at social causes. You can meet people, like if you're 2 revolutionaries or social activists, this is a really strong pattern for you. This is a connection of people through ideas, because Aquarius is a fixed air sign. So this is people interacting with each other based on ideology, ideas, and all those kinds of things. There's a focus here on communication. There is a free spirit about this cycle. There's a love of technology, the growth of technology. So think about where you are existing in terms of your life, where you're living your life. It's around technology. Maybe you're interacting with other futurists. Maybe everybody's into sci-fi. I think that's pretty fair. People are talking about aliens, those kinds of things. And so we're in an atmosphere in which Pluto, Venus and Mars join together in Aquarius, and this is the relationship that's developed. And this trine is the outflow of that energy, right? And what's special about this outflow of energy is that it is, okay, let me explain how the water relates to the air. So the water energy, when you're rationally dealing things out and figuring things out with other people, logic and reason, Aquarian, even if it's open-minded, even if it's great, it is still rooted in reason and logic. And sometimes the reason and logic hit a wall and they can't figure things out. So water comes in and provides the feeling, the illogical and irrational answer that we truly want. And we've had a series, or we will have a series of 3 trines that Venus and Mars formed together since October 2024 until now. So this is the 3rd one. And so this water energy helps that rationale, future-seeking, scientific, AI kind of driven relationships that we're developing or we're existing in with each other, to focus the attention towards family support, collaboration with like-minded people through vibes, through feelings, deeper understanding of where other people are coming from. So Aquarian energy can be very sympathetic to people on the whole, but in one-on-one, sometimes it sort of misses the forest from the trees, or misses the trees from the forest, something like that. So this type of energy balances out for you circumstances in which there's not much sympathy in your life, or there's not much understanding, people are not being compassionate. This energy comes in and provides you some kind of compassionate perspective. This is a time when families can come together. There could be celebrations or reunions. And if a baby is born at this time, it will be very blessed. Okay, so let's see. So we have, so these are the, let me see. So these are the passes right here, if you want to write it down. So there was one trine that happened in October 2024, last year, and that happened when Venus was in Scorpio. So it was from the other side of Mars. That was the opening trine, and this is the closing one now. But we opened that energy at that time. I'll be talking about this during your all sign reading because that's important and it ties into what's happening now. And then in January 2025 and now in April 2025, we are going to have the second two trines, and these are closing trines. So we've had 3 events in which this rational relationship with other people, Venus and Mars, are how we relate to each other, that is rooted in a archetype of the Aquarius fixed air sign, has been working through the heart and emotional connections with people through these triple paths of Venus in aspect to Mars. Now, what's interesting is the final trine actually happens when Venus is in Aries and Mars enters Leo. So we're bringing the energy forward again. If you guys have been watching me, you know that there's been this pattern of water, earth switching to fire and air, and that's showing up here as well. And so the next trine will be between Venus at 15 degrees of Aries and Mars at 15 degrees of Leo. And this will be taking the energy forward. As a larger over metaphor or archetype or symbolism, to me that seems like we're taking rational mind issues or things like the Aquarian energy, and then we are relating to each other from October until now, and we keep having these kinds of heart-to-heart awakenings with each other where we learn to care and understand and touch base with each other and sympathize. And then in May, from now until May, in May there's going to be the final trine in which Venus passes the trine, so there will be no more until later. And so at that point we switch to fire, and it's almost like the passion gets ignited again. So the water becomes a lubricant for the fire to arise. Does that make sense? So you're taking rational mind that's sort of separate and segregated. Then you have moments of peace and understanding in the water aspects. And then we reach the fire element in which the fire stirs in our heart. You know, Venus or to Mars, Mars to Venus. Now I saw an interesting kind of pattern that emerged. And if you saw, what was it, yesterday, right? I did a video on the sextile between Sun and Jupiter. And I remarked in that video that there was some synchronicities to the Sun at 16 degrees of Aries, right? And so this is really interesting because the next time Venus and Mars join together, Venus will be in that same position. So where the Sun and Jupiter are now. So just to jot your memory, I noticed that there was a eclipse in 2014 on October 8th in Aries, in that same position right here at 15, 16 degrees of Aries. And there will be another eclipse on October 8th, 2023 in this position. And remember, that's when the water energy starts showing up again in our chart. Well, even not so much so, but I think it starts to trickle in the 30s. So we have this synchronicity between the next trine in fire. That's where this water is taking us into the fire. We get a full moon eclipse in the position where the sextile is from Venus to Jupiter right now, as this other trine is happening. And then there will be the next time when this period of time is over, we will have another eclipse in the exact same position. And to remind you more about this 15 degrees of Aries, I think it's all kind of together and it's worth paying attention to. On March 2024, the North Node was in this area and it formed a conjunction to Chiron. And then in April, Venus formed a conjunction to North Node in the same position. So there's something very special that is happening at 15 degrees Aries. There's a confluence of energy. And look, that first pass of Venus and Mars was on October 8th. Look, it coincides with these eclipses. So that's where the sun was in the same position in Libra, where those eclipses will be on different years. So it's not the same year, but we're looking October 8th. It's repeating over and over again. So, it is a little bit of a web of energy, but it does look like this is all very important. So that's all I had to say about the astrology. And then maybe we can work through the energies for every single sign. And yeah, I hope you like this. I was really excited about this. Let me know if any of these dates are significant for you. So October 8th, 2024. I guess we don't know about May 22nd, 2025. But how about the eclipse on October 8th, 2014? And I guess we'll find out about October 8th, 2033. But maybe last March and April, when the North Node was making its conjunctions with Chiron and Venus, did something wake up in you that you've been healing between October and right now? Because I'm guessing that's what it's going on. So let me summarize, because it's a lot of different pieces. So Aquarius brings in an idea, and sometimes that idea challenges us. And for some of us, we struggle with whatever comes up as a fact or ideology, okay? Pure reason. And so these water energies come in to heal us so that we can work through whatever has been stirred up in our lives. And so there could have been a lot of healing between October 8th and April 6th of this year. And in fact, this energy carries right over to April 17th. Venus and Mars are traveling in this trine for a good 11 days, which is very nice. Very lucky. There's some harsh energies in April, but this is a nice energy. And then I guess we can look forward to the next trine, spirit and inspiration, to take us to the next level. So we've been challenged by these conjunctions of Venus and Mars in Aquarius, but these challenges are good. They're challenges so that we can raise ourselves to better levels of relationship with each other and to become better people and kind of learn from each other and just fill in the spaces where maybe we needed some work, So hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, let me know in the comments, and I'm going to get into the sign by sign and walk each sign through this energy. Okay, so let me see. So first sign we're going to talk to is Aries. Okay, that's easy because it's an Aries chart, so I don't have to change anything. I would like to pick cards first. Let me see. So we have the Three of Wands, And then we have the Hermit. And then we have the Four of Pentacles. And then we have the Wheel of Fortune. Great, that's Jupiter. Remember that the sextile between Sun and Jupiter is somehow connected to all this too, through 15 degrees of Aries. I don't know what's about that degree. I'll have to dig around a little bit further, but there's something. This is what happens in astrology. There's various different astrological patterns converge around different degrees, different patterns, and they're separate. It's not like, I know it's a spherical system and all of that, but there's separate things that have different math and, but they still show up together. So for Aries, let's take a look at your chart. And so when we're looking at this, I think that I did some notes about this before. Here's the first thing that I got, and I'll tell you guys, it was super interesting. It looked like maybe in October, there was an end to something in a relationship for you. There might have been a change or an end. And do you know what the main thing that I noticed about that was? That the feminine, whoever takes on the feminine energy, is more aware of the ending than the masculine energy. So to me, it looks like the man or the masculine is at home and they are still pushing forward towards their goal, while the female or feminine energy is kind of hiding a secret away. This is not necessarily against anyone, but it feels like she knows something. She knows something that he doesn't. It's almost like she knows something is over and he doesn't know it yet. And he's still doing his thing in the 4th house, which is home and family. And she is in the 12th house going through a pretty intense process. That was a huge download that I got when I was looking at your chart, Aries. But I think that it's a timing issue. You have 4 of Pentacles here, so you have to wait and rest. I do think that you're waiting for some kind of journey. You're waiting for something to change. Good news, because it is changing. Wheel of Fortune is coming your way. Venus in the 12th house to me signifies, and remember, there's been 2 trines from this position in January and now. There's this hidden secrets coming to light, things that were hidden, things that were, not easily seen. Okay. And so something's messing me up, so I'll just keep going. Sorry. So there's definitely like a hiddenness. Either that secret is being kept from someone, or that secret, there's something that's hidden that you're not fully seeing. And remember, the sun at 16 degrees of Aries today is somehow connected to all this. And there's eclipses here, and then there's the next trine. And that's important for you because it's in Aries, so in your sign. There's a truth that is emerging for you, and you have to be very patient to see what it is, okay? And because this is all rooted in Aquarius, and Pluto is there, and that's connected to the planetary cycle of Venus and Mars in 2022, I'm guessing this has to do with friends, social networks, and connections with other people, okay? So there's some kind of a secret going on, and it is going to emerge. And I have a feeling that like in heteronormative relationships, like the wife knows about it but the man doesn't know yet, but change it for your own circumstances. It is going to work out for the best, which is the Wheel of Fortune, so you have nothing to worry about. Okay, so let's take a look at the next sign. Okay, so the next sign is, we have Pisces next, Sun, Moon, and Rising. That's interesting. Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising. So I had like notes in front of me. Sorry. I had notes, and I don't do this part of I have little notes, but and so I started reading the notes and not being able to focus on the reading. I'm like, I'd rather do this from memory than, than read and whatever. Okay, so let's pull some cards for Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising, and get a message for you what this trine is about. You have the Queen of Swords. You have the Ten of Pentacles. That's nice. And then we have the Six of Pentacles, Moon and Taurus, and then we have the Queen of Wands. Okay, very interesting. So in a cycle, I have a feeling that for you, there is also a level of hidden motivations. We're looking at a cycle that has to do with the 11th house. When I was doing your research for this, or looking in on this for you, I actually got the impression that there was something that was emerging for you that was a surprise for you specifically, Pisces. That you don't know exactly what's going on or why it is the way it is, but there's something around you that's kind of emerging, a situation, a circumstance. It's weird. You're getting signs and there's indication that something's going on. This is not telling me what it is. If I were to estimate, we get another trine in Aries and Leo. It might involve opportunities for work, opportunities to make money. I feel as though there's a turn of the bend for you that's coming up in terms of how you spend your time. And so these trines now, this April 6th one is the last one in this series. It's kind of bringing us into the fire energy. So this is the energy to tidy up. But I have a feeling that you have a sensation that things are coming. This could be through a connection with two queens. So we have the Queen of Swords and Queen of Wands. They can be female or male, use your preferences. But I do feel as though they're maybe work-oriented people or contacts that you have. And so there's something involving money. They could be family members. There's not a huge... Well, you have Jupiter in the 4th house, which could signal that family is bringing wealth to you at this time. But I have a feeling that there's you're around money in some way. And that money is going to, I don't believe in trickle down economics, but it's going to trickle down its way over to you. When you spend enough money, around money, you pick up $1 or $2 along the way. That's what I'm getting about this. I have a feeling that you have an entourage of people around you, and those people have your best interest in mind. Okay, so Pisces, that's your message. We'll look more, but I just wanted to kind of get you thinking about these dates and what it could possibly mean for you. Let's take a look at the next message. So we have for Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Hi, Libras. Let's take a look at your chart. Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising. So first, I'll pick some tarot cards. Venus is in your 6th house of Pisces, and Mars is in the 10th house of Cancer. Career-driven motivation. Where Pluto is in the 5th house. I have a feeling, Libra, that you have someone around you who's very supportive. And then the next trine is in Aries and Leo, which means that hits your 7th house. I think you have someone who's very supportive in the things that you're trying to achieve. They're giving you support. You have the Page of Pentacles. I have a feeling that's you trying something new with work or money. And then we have the Magician. And then we have the Fool, which is Uranus. And Uranus is in that minor grand trine sextile between Uranus, Saturn, and Mars. But that is breaking up. Well, it's separating now. And then you have the Three of Swords. Okay. So let's take a look at Libra's energy. Okay, so I have a feeling that someone is very supportive of you. I think you're sort of on your way to take some kind of a risk. Mars in the 10th house. Not a bad risk, just putting yourself out there, Libra, trying something new. I think that it's very hard for you right now because there's a lot of confusion. This is what I take this 3 of Swords as, your 6th house. There's a lot of confusion and misdirection that's going on around you at this time in your 6th house. I think that for you to figure out what's going on around you, who is who and what is what and what's actually going on, is very hard to pin down. It's very hard to figure out. And so we have this sort of confusion around you, or worry, a lack of clarity with regard to your circumstances, and lack of clarity with regard to who is who, like what's going on in your relationships. The 6th house isn't really a house of relationships, but it can be like the people that you're interacting with, creating like a lack of clarity, which is going to pass, first of all. So if you're experiencing that kind of feeling, it's passing. And I think that, how do I say this? Maybe worry or anxiety that the social circles that you have to be around to achieve the things, like you stir up, you're like a social butterfly that stirs up people to be social around you. And that stirring up energy around you of feeling, being stirred up is anxiety inducing. So you find yourself in a like room with people, and you know your presence is going to evoke activity from them, and you want some simple things to focus on your goals, but you know when you put yourself into circumstances, it layers full of social dynamics that start happening and overlaying with each other and influencing one another. And you're worried about that. And I think that you've probably had a fair bit of that going on. First of all, it's going to get better. Right now, it would feel like it's a little bit of a cluster of people around. And I think you should hold steady with the new beginnings that you're reaching for here. Ironically, friends and social connections are going to be the avenue through which you achieve what you want. Because this is a Aquarian cycle, I have a feeling that this is something that you feel very passionate about. Like you're really going for something that's you desire or that's in your heart, and you're very excited. So in other words, your heart is on the line in this situation. So it's even more frustrating or frustrating or worrisome that it's not going to work out, that it's too messy. But this is only temporary, and it is going to work out. And I think that you need to keep on investing your time and energy into this, and don't allow your worry about social conditions distract you. And I think that what we'll see by May 22nd, is the social people actually helping you to achieve your goals. Okay, so I'll catch you next time. I hope this gives you an idea of what to watch out for, or what to pay attention to. But now let's take a look at the next sign. We have Scorpio next, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Let's take a look at your chart. Hold on. I have to put a yoga block under my knee because sitting so long. Let's take a look. Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Let's pull some cards for you. Sun, Moon, and Rising. Scorpio. So we have the 9 of Swords and the 9 of Pentacles. And we have the 5 of Swords. And we have the Strength card, or Leo. Okay? Okay, so Scorpio, let's take a look at your chart. your Venus placement is in the 5th house. Mars is at the top of the chart. Oh yeah, I did notes on this, but if I read it, it's going to be like a real pain to watch. So I'll just use my memory as best I can to tell you something about what's going on with this aspect. I have a feeling that you are pulling away from family. That's it. I remember now. So you're pulling away from family situations that are overbearing because Pluto is in the 4th house. And this is going to be sort of like a theme in your life, or it may have already been a theme, but I think that there is a distancing from family that's going to happen over the next 20 years. Not necessarily that you're going to be alone, but I think you're going to really rethink your family dynamics, and particularly those of you who are not from the healthiest families. I think that this is a lot about you pulling away and doing your own thing. There's like an enmeshment that's going on, or has happened before, that you are now seeing for what it is. And I think that you're seeking something that's deep within your heart, like something that you truly want, and you're reaching for it. This is closely tied to October, when you had this realization about what you want and what's important. I think that you've gone through, between October and now, you've possibly like tried to get them in on the action, like get them like interested in what's going on for you and tried to get compliance. But I do feel as though it's your game. It's your situation. It's your life. Live it to the best of your abilities. So I think that there's also a level here of stability, which is the 9 of Pentacles, which means that you had achieved a level of stability, and through that financial stability, you were able to gain distance from family dependency and family enmeshment. And so I think that there's this trine for you is not about feeling bad about those circumstances, but acknowledging those circumstances and pushing forward for you. Because the next time this trine happens, it's going to be in your work houses, right? In your 6th house and your 10th house. Mars is going to be in the 10th house. And so you're going to be likely pushing towards a goal of your own. So acknowledge that you feel that connection to family issues and family dramas, or whatever feels overbearing for you and family. But then let that go. I think that the main struggle here is overcoming their own negativity, or your indoctrination into how they talk or how they encourage you to be. But I do feel like very excited for where things are going to go for you, or where things are going. I think you should be excited as well. And I think it's because of some level of stability that you've achieved that's allowing you. So don't waste this opportunity. You got further away from that situation, and you should keep going in the direction that you're going. Okay? So maybe not for everyone, but it was a strong message. But if it's not that your family's terrible, there's some kind of indoctrination, something that it's not an ick. It's more of you're looking at it and you're just like, this doesn't work for me anymore. I need to go, right? So there's this strong independence about this trine for you. Now let's see the next card. So we have Leo next, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Let's take a look at your aspects, Leo. I'm going to do your tarot cards first, and then we are going to do your astrology. But let's just acknowledge Venus is in the 8th house, Leo, and you have Scorpio 4th house. That's back to October. And then Mars is, oh, right. I remember your messages too. So, okay. I know what your messages are. A lot of the messages, they came in groups. There was like 3 or 4 signs that had very similar messages together. Like a couple 3s, a couple. So we'll see. So this might be similar to some of the other messages, but we are completing a pattern. It's not a cycle. we're completing, excuse me, that pattern of the triple pass in water signs. And now we're switching into fire. And so we're tidying up basically and finishing up loose ends from the last 3 trines or last 2 trines in water. Okay, we have Moon in Libra, 2 of Swords. That's Neptune right there. Neptune's moved into your 9th house. I like that for you, Leo. The 9th house Neptune transit, we'll get into that later. Then we have the Star. And then we have the 4 of Cups. Okay, so 4 of Cups. So the last time a trine formed between Mars and Venus, she was in the 4th house. And now we get 2 consecutive trines in the 8th house. It's likely that something did reach an end or you separated yourself from something. So there's, again, the same theme, maybe family, maybe coming to peace with family circumstances, but sort of walking away. Or right now under this trine, it's a real self-awareness that what's good for you or what's important has to be, you know, this is the way that I'm going to go, and feeling confident that you need to break away from others. We have a lot of planets in Pisces. It's a hugely emphasized sign right now. And this means that there's a lot going on for us wherever it is in our chart. And so in the 8th house, what we're talking about is there's a deep complexity of the issues. So I don't think you're walking away from something that's simple or easy. I think that you feel with a lot of love, passion, and determination that you have to walk away for your betterment. What actually happens, I feel as though things are holding you back and holding you down. And I think that there's delays and things are not working out as they should, or you feel that way. And that's motivating you to get out of the situation, get away. I have a feeling of, it's not necessarily family that you're getting away from, but I do have a feeling that there's a deep desire that's coming out of you that has to do with independence. And as Mars enters into Leo on April 18th, it's going to, those things that are hidden right now, the motivations, the feeling like I really need to take care of myself, I need to sort of separate, it's going to come through. So what I think this is you sort of waiting it out for the next 12 days. You waiting it out for things to happen, because I think you feel it. I think you feel the big Neptune transit through the top of the chart and all the other transits that are about to happen. And I think that you need to set yourself up for a win here. And I think you know what you need to do in that relationship or those relationships. It's, I really got the strong feeling that like let's say, like Leo's thing is boldness, right? So if you're feeling so bold, it's and boldness is your vehicle through which you achieve things, right? And if someone's holding down your boldness and your kind of ambitious side, and they're saying, no, you can't do this, that stops your flow, right? So it's not necessarily that anybody's bad, but there's a real feeling that like, you can't live your life by their standards, because their standards are going to slow you down from activating your own trajectory. Okay, so here is the next message. We have Gemini next, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Geminis, I think yours was really good too. I can't read the notes, so anyway. I was going to do a bigger video, but the editing for it would have been really long, so you wouldn't have gotten it till tomorrow. So I just decided to do the live. Moving forward, I think some of my videos are not going to be live, just so I can do some, like, make them better. But for the meantime, that's why I had notes, because I was going to do like a pre-filmed video for you guys, but that's not going to happen. So I'm like, they better get a video today, because I'm not going to be like, not here Veroosh anymore. I'm here. Okay, so we have the Death card. Unless I die. Okay, so we have the Death card. And then we have the 2 of Swords, Moon in Moon in Libra for Gemini. You guys know how I pick. I'm not like still random. It's just doesn't break cards that easy. So we have the Queen of Wands. And then we have the Hermit. Okay, Virgo. Okay. Gemini. So for you, this is definitely a trine that involves work. I have a feeling that back in October, something became unmanageable. That was the message. It was too busy. It was falling apart, and there was a transition. You couldn't keep it going. It was something that was causing your money to become unstable. And so in October, either you ended a situation or you decided not to go in a particular direction. And now in some way you're going on that path. But I think it's still somewhat not clear which way to go, which is fine. It's totally okay. By May 22nd, I have a feeling that a friend will come in. Okay, this is going to be Venus in Aries, and Mars is going to, it's someone who you know. It could be a sibling or a cousin. Somebody's going to help you to find yourself in these circumstances. So let me just summarize what I said. Back in October, when that first trine formed in the between Venus and Mars, I think that you are going through a change in terms of who you want to interact with, in terms of work. Like, it's not so personal like your romance or friends and stuff. This is all about where you spend your time and like how you feel about things. In October 8th, there was that trine between Mars. Mars was here in the second house, and a sixth house Venus, okay? And so that trine, I sensed that there was doubt about money, but there was like a necessary, like I have a feeling that you were very put off by how busy things were happening around you. You were like, it's so busy around me, so many different people, so many different things, that it's going to get mismanaged. It's almost like working for a company and coming in and seeing it's completely mismanaged, or it's a really bad way that they're dealing with things, and being like, I have to get out of here before I catch some heat off of this. So it's like, it's that feeling where you sort of were not comfortable, literally not comfortable with your environment. And so there was a step into the unknown in October, and now in January you had a trine here that probably began something for you in terms of work, but you have to be patient. And I do feel like it's all shifting towards social relationships. You're going to find a person through which to find your next thing that you're looking for, okay? So there has been a period of doubt, but you're doing it for the right reason. You're doing it to accommodate a deep need for order, or a deep need for, you were in a bad situation and you sort of pulled the plug on it, right? And that was a necessary step. And it's good that you took a little bit of a risk, but it's good that you did it, okay? So good luck. We'll talk again soon. Let's see the next sign. So we have Taurus next, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Let's see what's going on for you with this trine. Taurus. I think good things are going on for Taurus. So the Jupiter-Sun sextile that's over us right now began from a planetary cycle that began in your sign. So go watch that video if you haven't watched it already. But let's see what's going on. So the last sextile happened, or sextile, keep calling it, last trine happened to the seventh house, and now we're in the, I keep getting this message for Taurus that there's a group of friends from whom you're isolated or alienated, and it keeps showing up that there's someone there, there's someone there for you to consider. So I think that there's like a closening of a bond with one person. overall, the planetary cycle is in the 10th house. It's taking you in new directions in terms of your career and social standing, your work. It's very much like you have to break away from people so they don't hold you back from where you need to go. Not that they are holding you back. It's just like you feel the need to do that. And I don't think that some of your social connections reflect what you actually want, right? So I think that it's coming out of that. None of the good relationships you have will go. It really seems like there's groups around Tauruses that are not good for them. Okay, then we have Mars that is at the bottom of the chart. And the next time that Venus and Mars create this trine, the last one of this planetary cycle, Venus will be in the 12th house and Mars will be in the 4th house. There's something going on also in your home. We'll look forward that later, but I think for you to understand, 12th house stuff is complicated, so it's hard to like figure out what's actually going on. But you may want to go back to the dates that I mentioned before, like the eclipses and the North Node with Venus and the North Node with Chiron, because that was happening where the sun is right now. And that's where Venus will be in that next trine with Mars. And that's where the sun is sextiling Jupiter right now in a planetary cycle that's from Taurus. All in all, those dates are likely to point you to in the right idea of what's going on, to figure out like what's going on in your life. It has to do with money. It has to do with like relationships, interacting with money, and stability and that kind of stuff. Okay, so next card is the Leo card. And somehow your family's involved, but that will show up. See the 10 of Pentacles. That's a family card, like a bigger family, you know, just not only, I got 2 cards, I'll honor it. So we have the 5 of Pentacles and 6 of Swords. The 6 of Swords, that's right. Okay, so there's someone who's waiting for you, Taurus. I think that you're searching for your place in the world. I think that you're searching for like where this is the cycle that's in the 10th house. It's complicated because you're stepping away from a group of friends because they're not providing what you want, but there's someone there that's redeemable. Not that they're bad, it's just someone that you're meant to be around. And then there's a pattern of something involving, like, it feels like you get bogged down by people in your life and you really want to, like, I think the planetary cycle in the 10th house is, I want to be around not better people, but people who are more like-minded. And so I think that there's this ambition to go and get some virtue out there, but I think that you're going to be sort of searching around for it. And I think it's sort of connected to some family issues for you or family dynamics. And that trine, 15 degrees of Leo to 15 degrees of Aries, I think that it's all happening because there's some not hidden dynamic, but there's some blueprint that you're working from. Like it's all happening because of something you either have forgotten or aren't fully aware of. You're going to be surprised by something in the next couple months. Something's going to emerge for you that is going to put things in perspective. I definitely get the vibe that you're searching for a different way in your life. And this is saying like there is doubt, which is the 5 of Pentacles. There's a doubt that things will not work out, that things will not improve, all those things, but you will find a way through, and I think that's part of the process. So more of the same for Taurus, essentially, but, you know, we're making progress. Congratulations. I'm really curious. I think you're going to have a very interesting time when the next trine forms in May, because I think that there's some kind of secret that's going to make things more complicated, and it's somehow involving your family. Okay? So keep that in mind. Family, 4th house, right? There's something that they're going to tell you that is going to add a layer of dimension to what's going on for you. Okay. So I have a feeling that you're working off instinct a lot. That's why you're so turned off by that group of friends. It's just, I have a feeling that they're draining, essentially, like how they go about things. It's not that they're bad people. It's just that at this time, it's just you feel the need to go and explore new directions, right? Okay, I did do a reading for the sextile between Sun and Jupiter that I think you might like or may help you, so you might want to check that out. Okay, catch you again. Okay, so next we have the Sagittarius placement. Hi Sag, let's take a look at your trine between Venus and Mars. So we have the previous trine happened from the 12th house. And right now we have Venus in the 4th house, Mars in the 8th house, and from a cycle that's beginning in the 3rd. Well, I do feel as though you're ambitious and you're reaching out for new experiences. I do have a feeling that you have responsibilities, or you have some kind of commitment to family that's really intense, and that's, you do it because you feel you have to. I do have a feeling that you're really thinking about you in October, you likely had some kind of an awareness, which is this trine from Mars to the 12th house. You had some awareness that you needed to change something. And I think that whatever responsibilities you have at home, those responsibilities are chosen by you. So, for example, you have a disabled family member that you help. It's not like a bad thing, and you choose it and you freely do it out of the goodness of your heart, but it's still something that impacts your life, right? So it's a commitment. It's not a bad commitment, but it does carry with it a heaviness for some of you. And so there's also an emotional complexity there. So there's like commitments or holding on to a relationship in a family, or, sometimes when people are siblings and one sibling is, able-bodied and not disabled, they have their disabled sibling that they sort of make sure that their life complements as well. And so there's some kind of a relationship that is forming the decisions that you make, essentially. And it's not a bad thing. It's just right now, I think that you have a feeling that you want to change things, not necessarily in your family, but I think that you're beginning to reach towards something, and Sagittarian reaches kind of far. And so I feel as though something is stirring in you in need of a change, or seeking a change, or just pursuing some instinct. Okay. So it's about making it work. It's about figuring out how to make it all work together. But I do have a feeling that you have like a calling, something's wanting your attention, or you want to, reach towards something. Okay. So we have the Knight of Wands, and then we have the Five of Cups, and then we have the Two of Swords, and then we have the World card. Okay. So, yeah, very bittersweet, some of the emotions. It's almost like, having a pet and having to go to college away from your cat or dog, childhood cat or dog. It's a very bittersweet sort of decision, but it's something that you feel you must do. It's a priority, or it's calling your name. I do have a feeling that there's an added emphasis here on making changes, and that emphasis on change has been through all three trines that we've experienced. The one in October, the one in January, and the one right now. All those trines. So you've consecutively got the memo that you have to change your circumstances and reach out for something and go for something different, and I don't think you exactly know what that's about. I do feel as though it's like a call of the wild, the search for adventure. And I don't think you exactly know where it's all coming from. It has to do with the 12th house because that's where that first trine happened. But it has, like, you can't explain it, but it's something that's kind of calling your name. So you do have an adventure ahead, but it is not, how do I say this? You have to negotiate your relationships at home in order to make it work so that you can do the thing. But that involves letting go of something as well, likely letting go that you've experienced in October 8th, January 20th, earlier this year, and now April 6th. Okay. So by the next time in May 2022, not May 22nd, 2025, you're going to be likely on your way towards something. It's something that you feel a lot of passion towards. So pay attention. One thing to figure out what this is all about, look back to the dates that I said for Aries 15 degrees, because there's a repeat emphasis on events to do with this degree. And maybe those times like March, April 2024, October 2014. Look to those dates and see if there's information. But I think that you're definitely going to change certain things in your outside world very soon, over the next month. Okay? So let's see the next card, the next sign. The next sign is Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Let's take a look at your cards. Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Let's see. So I'll pick the cards for Virgo first, and then we'll talk about the astrology. Mars has been in the 8th house for the entire transit, and we had a trine from the 3rd house, and now we have a trine in the 7th. Okay, so we have a Justice card, and a cycle involving the 6th house. 7 of Swords, Page of Pentacles, and the 8 of Swords. Okay, so Virgo, you have you're working through a pattern of personal relationships that you are resolving or unpacking. So you're working through personal relationships in your 7th house. Saturn is there, and so these have been gradual improvements in January and right now in your personal relationships. It's an antidote to the issues that Saturn sort of has brought up since 2023 in your 7th house. The trine is helpful. It's healing. Rely on your friends to help you figure things out. I have a feeling that some of you are experiencing disingenuous behavior around you. I don't want to say theft, the 7 of Swords, but it does feel as though there's disingenuous behavior, something that's taking away from you, and you have to figure out that pattern. I think it has to do with these placements in the 7th house. The planetary cycle is a 6th house planetary cycle. That is a house that can be considered sometimes unlucky as well. And so maybe some ways, you know what it feels like to me? Not that somebody's stealing, but that you're like leaking water somewhere, or that you are, there's a story in Poland in which the little boy takes a sack of grain to the market, and there's a hole in the grain, and he the grain falls out. I think there's something similar in like Western countries, but essentially that's what it feels like. Like the grain is falling out, you're missing something. Just mind your bases right at this time. Make sure that you're not missing something, that you're not forgetting about something. I don't think it's malicious intent. I do think that there's maybe maybe there's a relationship boundary that you need to shift, because maybe you're yeah, that's what it feels like. It feels like there are partnerships and relationships that are causing you to lose the grain or the water. Okay. And so this trine is helping you to locate better friends and better trajectories, so you're not enmeshed in circumstances that are causing you loss. I think that the planetary cycle started in 2024 in February in your 6th house. So it has to do with like how you achieve things and how busy you are. I feel like you're more busy than you should be on account of other people's behavior. And that's tied into the Saturn cycle through your 7th house. And so I think it's like an emotional cleanup of how much time you're willing to give into certain situations, romantic situations, relationships. And I think that the Page of Pentacles is an investment that you want to make to take things forward. I think that that will become more clear in the next trine when Venus is in Aries and Mars is in the 12th house. And we have this kind of 8 of Swords at the end of here. You definitely need time to focus on the matter at hand. I feel as though you're minimizing obstacles, you're minimizing interjections or things that are distracting you or getting in the way, but you still have to figure out how to make it all work. And I think that's the energy moving forward, because it's not an easy energy, Virgo. It's an energy of Aquarius in the 4th house, and we've had 2 back-to-back planetary cycles between Venus and Mars in those positions. So it's really like pushing you to like how you organize yourself, how like you're going to reach it's really pushing you to reach some kind of outcome in terms of work, in terms of where you like. It's challenging you to make it better, okay? And it's pushing you to get out of the way of situations that are taking away from your effort, that are holding you down or holding you back, okay? So keep doing it. Don't worry. I think you do recognize here wasteful energy around people, certain people that are taking up too much of your time, okay? So keep that in mind. Push forward. I think that there's better horizons for you out there, so look for those as well. There's better friends, better connections, better opportunities that Mars is presenting for you. And remember, Mars was in the same, not same position, but the same sign for all 3 of the water trines. So the one in October, the one in January, and the one now, Mars was always in your 11th house. So it's likely already presented to you more uplifting people to be around. I think you're sort of like used to someone, or you're used to someone that's not necessarily good for your productivity or your ability to get the things you want, and you're supposed to figure that out, okay? Next sign is Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Let's take a look at your chart, Cap. Okay, so Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Let's take a look at your cards. So we have the 10 of Cups. And then we have the Hierophant card. And then we have the 6 of Swords. And then we have the 5 of Wands. Okay. So for Capricorn, hi guys, we have a trine from Venus in the 3rd house, to Mars in the 7th. I have a feeling that for you, and the previous trine was from Venus in the 11th house to Mars in the 7th. For you, social connections are really important. I think that we've been talking about Capricorn dealing with family issues for quite a long time. And I think the next trine, which is in Leo and Aries, is going to give you some kind of outcome. I have a feeling that in the interim, you are going to experience some arguing, fighting, pushing and shoving. Maybe when you go visit family members. So you go visit someone and you get more of that. I think that that's going to be something that influences the next trine's energy. In the meantime, the trine between Mars in the 7th and Venus in the 3rd, I have a feeling that you have maybe your own partner somewhere, ambitious for your relationship. Maybe some of you are hoping for marriage. Some of you are hoping that the bond will become closer. Some of you are traveling really far to someone who's a friend to try to form a closer relationship. This is just some of you, I don't want to worry you, but if you have a relationship that's primarily long distance, you might travel to that person and find that they are a very different person in person than they are, however you can contact with them. So especially I'm thinking of like online relationships where you feel like maybe you met someone online and you've had this long distance relationship with not too much time together. I could see for those of you who are thinking of I don't know if it's going to work out because I have a feeling that there's like a mismatch. And I've heard that before, that people get on really well, through the internet or whatever, however they do it. And then in person, it's a very different, and it's not like catfishing. It's more like, I've heard that before, that people have like really good connections through online. And then when they meet in person, it's not as great. So I'm getting that kind of feeling for you. I have a feeling that that's all leading you to make a certain change at home. And I think that that's going to bring you closer to that close relationship. It almost feels like you're prioritizing a relationship with one person away from the pressures from family members. And I think family is a sore spot for you guys right now. And it's almost like you're doing all the right things. And the question is, are they? And I think that it's influencing possibly like your personal life with someone else, and that's frustrating for you. So you're trying to be there for your family members, and yet their behavior is somehow interacting with things that don't have to do with them, and they're spilling over into your other relationship. But you're going to figure it out. I do think that maybe the next trine, the Mars trine Venus in Leo and Aries, I have a feeling that some of you are going to make a change or drastic change and get certain things out of the way. So if you're traveling somewhere and you're disappointed by that experience, I think that it was meant to be. And I think that that's going to get question marks out of your way to bring forward this. There's something already good in your life that is worth nurturing, and it's good. It's a closening of the ties, but I think there's something in the way. It might be family, like for many people it is, and I think that it's like a longer term issue. I think that obstacle shows up again, and by May 22nd, I think that you're going to be sort of changing things around. When Mars is in Leo, the theme for you is really rooted in change and taking out things that don't work so that you can achieve the things that you want. Okay? And I mean that less about money and more about relationships. But this pattern is about money because it's the Venus-Mars conjunction in your second house. So it's almost like, just slowing you down. You're doing, it's almost like you eat and you exercise and you do all the right things, and you're around someone who doesn't, and that's frustrating because you're putting all that energy into bettering yourself, and that person who you love is kind of working against it. So it's a question of what's good for you, right? Okay. So then we have Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Let's take a look at this trine for you. Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. And we have Mars in the first house and Venus is in the ninth. So we've had two already we had 3 trines with Mars in your first house. So this is all about ambitions. The first trine was in your 5th house, in which in October you became aware of something that you want to do or something that you want to achieve. Now, in terms of all this talking we've had about Saturn moving into your 10th house and, conflicts there and pressure on you, I do have a feeling that this trine in some way is super resilient. It's making you really resilient to outside pressure or other people trying to bring down the mood. We have Queen of Cups. This is you very much in that Martian energy. We have the World card. And then we have the Star. And then we have the Chariot card. Okay. So big cards, lucky time for you, Cancer. I do have a feeling that these trines are super supportive to your self-esteem when you're facing pressures from work and disrespectful people that are sort of being unkind. I think that you're going to see a very positive outcome in May 2022. Why do I keep saying that? May 20th, 2025, next month. Okay, I promise. Venus will form a trine to Mars in the 2nd house. It's almost like you're getting your gumption, like your self-esteem here in this current trine between the 9th and the 1st house. And possibly some of you, it might involve travel or someone from far away that's kind of bringing in insight. The North Node is here. That's very nice. So broadening of perspective, which is making you more resilient to the people that you're interacting with. And then we have the Star, which is fated events are happening, and we have an overcoming. And I told you right from the start, it's very hard to be in an environment where you can't choose who's around you. Like you have to be there, like work. And where it's, how do I say this? It's like, you would never put up with that behavior in other circumstances, but you're sort of exposed to it because it's by virtue of work. And so right from the beginning, I told you that there was you were going to persevere through it. And the information that you gained through the Pluto in the 7th house is informing your resiliency to these. It's like jackals and hyenas. Let's just describe it that way. And so what I see here is that turnaround right from the beginning. I knew you were going to outshine the situation, that you were going to persevere and just find your way through it. This is your card, the Chariot card. And you're pushing through and pushing ahead. So right now, in some way, I think your worldview is expanding. It has to do with passions that arose. Passions means like personal passions or things that you really enjoy that rose up as an interest for you in October 2024. And now you're sort of finding like new perspectives, new ways around the issue, figuring out ways to manage the issue that you never knew like before, how that would be done. And so you're feeling empowered through this trine and finding, support or a way through. And then there's going to be the next trine, which is Mars in the 2nd house and the 10th house Venus. And you're going to see the outcome of all this in May. More so than anybody else, I think you're going to see in this situation resolution. A few of you guys have messaged me saying, that's really happening for me at work and it's stressful and all of this. So here's a timeline that we can go by. Look for May 22nd as some outcome or some kind of antidote to what's going on. Like essentially getting moved up somewhere, finding a new job, switching direction, it's happening. The one thing that I'll say for Cancer though, in all this conversation, because it always comes up when we talk about it, be very wary of making drastic career changes as Saturn moves into the 10th house. It is not uncommon that people get into challenging dynamics at work when Saturn is in the 9th house, and then they start making changes. Now, this happens beyond like your ability to control it, but let me just describe what I've seen as a pattern. People have run into problems in Saturn in the 9th house, and then as Saturn moves into the 10th house, they may make decisions to change their job, and then they, for a period of time, find themselves in a difficult job, not much better, or maybe other problems. Ultimately, it does resolve, but my only comment here is don't complicate the issue, right? Like, be very wary of being overly reactive. You have to be very smart here. You have to be very careful. And if you do want to make a change, ask yourself, is the devil I don't know really better than the devil I know, and plan accordingly. So remember, Saturn is about to move into your 10th house of career. That comes with a lot of changes and a lot of resiliency. But I'm not trying to scare you. The outcome of this will be good. It's just, how do I say this? You have to be very calm and very level-headed when that transit is happening through your 10th house. You just have to be very cautious with the changes you're making, okay? You don't want to create like a spiral effect is what I'm saying. I've seen people change jobs or even move countries for another job because their old job was so irritating, and find themselves in complicated situations that weren't easy to resolve, backed up against the wall. And they did, all of them, as far as I know, did get out of it, but it really took up time and it was heavy. So be careful of doing Saturn's job for him, So you can't really outsmart Saturn, so you have to be kind of careful with that. Okay, so it is getting better. I don't mean to be harsh, but I'm helping you try to strategize around this situation. Hunker down. There is a really positive outcome, possibly involving money, to kind of counteract all of this stuff that's going on around you, and maybe see in May what comes up, and then make your decision then. Okay, so we have Aquarius, last but not least. Hi, Aquarius. Let's take a look at your chart. Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising. Okay, so we have Venus in the 2nd house, and we have Mars in your 6th house. We had a previous trine with Venus in the 10th house. So right now you're really focused on money, and you're applying so this is I remember your notes, very hardworking transit. You're really putting a lot of effort towards the things that you want. In October, it's likely that you identified something that you care about, that you want to work towards, and now you're seeing it through. Okay, let's see. We have, okay. So this might be actually referring to the trine that's coming up in May, because it hits your 7th house and your 3rd house, which is a love relationship that sort of takes you off route to where you were going. Romantic interest or a romantic partner distracts you. That's fine. It does look like romance is around the corner for Aquarius types. And so we have the 2 of Cups and the Page of Cups, an offer. These are kind of flirtation cards, which is great. I mean, spring love, go for it. Jupiter is in your 5th house. You're ready for love. It doesn't look super serious yet, but it could turn into something for some of you guys. But there's definitely, eye-catching behavior. So congratulations, that looks like fun. There wasn't so much love in this reading for Venus and Mars, so get it well in whatever way you can is what I say. But I do think I think you have financial goals that you're going after and you've been putting in a lot of effort towards that, I think you're going to get distracted by love. I think you're going to, and so you need to figure out what you want to do. But I think financially things are working out well for you. I do think that there's going to be a period of like having to search and figure out something, how to make it all work together, like figuring out your master plan. So allow yourself that to do it. If anything, I'm picking up on the energy like fickleness. Like if on October you identified that this is what you want to do, this is what you're after, and you get this very sure feeling about where you need to go, it's almost like you're running out of steam, and romantic limerence, right? Limerence sort of distracts you, right? And you sort of suddenly like get like a little bit of a romantic thing going on, and then it's taking you off course. I'm not sure why you're losing speed, but I think you're searching still, and that's okay. You'll find your right direction. One thing about romance though is people always ask me like, when's the good transit for me? Aquarius types, you guys are heading into, you're in the season, okay? Jupiter's in your 5th house, but you have like a whole setup, one after the other. So you have Mars about to enter Leo. Mars is not going to be in Leo for a long time, but he is there. We have Jupiter in the 5th house, and in a year, Jupiter will enter Leo a year from now. And so once again, things can grow here from romance. Trust your instincts, Aquarius. If you meet someone and you're having that romantic connection, I do have a feeling that your master plan needs to wait for missing pieces. Like there's certain things that are like in terms of your ambitions and your goals, you have to wait a little bit to put it all together. But it's going to come together, and maybe this little romance is like a side quest. A little side quest, a little adventure. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed the reading today. Thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like and a comment. Do you guys want a question for discussions? Okay. Hi guys, thank you for the comments in the chat. Oh, well, if it's Dutch, then, yeah, it would be similar stories, probably traveled through Northern Europe. So we have, what is one thing you appreciate about your own resilience or ability to bounce back from difficult situations? And let us know your sun, moon, and rising. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. I hope that you see this trine is not a standalone energy, and I hope that it brings you improvement in your relationships with others and maybe some love, okay? Talk to you soon. Have a nice day. Thank you for watching. Bye.